It's boofering time. We're boofering the whole way through this bitch right now. What do you Elsa's going around in the background? Not ready as usual. Always late. If there's one thing that Elsa could do right, it would be being on time for once in her fucking life. Being on time and then also drinking coffee. These are my major complaints with Elsa. We'll never be able to share a nice cup of coffee together at a nice little coffee restaurant. It is unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. But we got some hate coming in from even different planets. We got intergalactic hate coming in from Mars. Fuck yeah, man. We love it. my first Martian that I've ever met. Awesome, man. What's up, Mr. Van Duysen? Mr. Shipwreck. Good morning to you, man. Mikey B. KOA breaks. Stay smart. Once upon a time, Giannis, Hennessy, Nimbo, Mike's Mind and Matter from South Africa. It does look quite beautiful there, I will say. And as the title does suggest, the rug is beginning today. Well, I don't necessarily know if we're going to see like an actual rug pull today, but ultimately the narrative on this channel has been more or less the same. Early portion of September, very likely a rally. After that, well, setups still do suggest lower or at least a more corrective stance. So I think that a lot of the excitement that we did see over the weekend, which is fucking classic stuff, man, a weekend move, especially on shit coins, going to the moon and beyond, not necessarily the moon and beyond, but really just rallying up a little bit after getting absolutely fucking pummeled for the last few years, creates the excitement necessary to create the liquidity that will be drained from this market, and then lower down the toilet bowl we go. Absolutely beautiful. It's like no one ever fucking learns. No, of course, many people do learn. Many people, of course, on this channel, many people just, actually paying attention. But I do realize that I've unfortunately left on my sounds in the background. Let me just adjust that. And yeah, apologies for the early stream boofering. I didn't realize I had my VPN on, so I've taken that off now. Should be all good to go. And yeah, let me know if there's any more further issues, but should be good to go on my end because our internet connection is actually quite good. Hate from Mozambique. Mozambique? Where the fuck even is that, man? Is that even a real place? Anyways, sound cutting out every few seconds. Highly annoying. Sorry about that, man. Probably the filter on my microphone. Hey, stop it. Enough. Anyways, let me turn down the threshold for this one. That should probably help a little bit on that because I've been pretty aggressively using that. Maybe even turn up the output a little bit or turn this up right here. There we go. Much has happened since we last spoke. Much things have happened since we last spoke, man. The world just going to just getting crazy and crazier. Many people have asked my thoughts on the situation in the United States. It's like, do I even want to talk about this on stream? Do I even want to get into this right now? For fuck's sake, man. Does it even matter what the hell I think? It doesn't really matter what the hell I think. I mean, but the situation is what the situation is. But for fuck's sake, man. Yeah, for fuck's sake, man. I mean, the only response to something like that is just look. It is honestly the response that we've actually seen a lot from the right side, which is really, really good to see, man. You know, it seems like the response in large is reconciliatory and acknowledging that political violence is very bad. Nobody wants that. And most importantly, man, there's been no real retaliation, at least in that same vein. Now, who knows what the hell comes out in the future. Maybe I end up eating those words, but man, I think it does say, again, I say this from a mostly centrist point of view. Yeah, I probably lean maybe a couple steps towards the right side of the political spectrum, I suppose, but mostly centrist, man. I think that's where most people are. It's just somewhere around the center, maybe one or two steps to the left or to the right, but mostly around that center. And then you got these fucking absolute crazy people on both ends of the extreme. Right now, obviously, the left side extreme is, certainly more of an issue just because they've had so much power for so long, and for the past 20 to 30 years now, it's been almost sacrilege to say that you even support anything on the right. But I feel like that's going to switch now, just with all of the craziness coming out on the on the left side. I mean, it really does seem like that. I feel like in the next 20 years we're going to see a flippening. The pendulum swings in the other direction, and culturally speaking, it'll be very taboo to say that you're on the left side, because then people are going to say, oh, so you think men can become girls? You think political violence is okay? You think this and that? And obviously that's not going to be true for everyone. No shit. But goddamn, man. some of the things that I've seen on the internet are just absolutely stunningly horrific. But thank God, at least the political leaders on the left side, they have, they have been mostly, I think, okay in the response to this sort of a situation. But of course, the really disgusting stuff is coming out not from the political people, more or less. It's coming out from the fucking, the teachers, like the educated people. And look, I won't get into it too much, but for fuck's sake, man, if you haven't done this, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, this is super relevant. If you haven't done this, go on YouTube, type in Yuri Bezmenov, KGB defector speech, and he lays out the whole fucking strategy that all of this shit has been predicated upon. And this was maybe 20 to 30 years ago. He's former KGB defector. He explains exactly how Russian, Soviet, and now Chinese subversion works, and how they've basically tried to take over the US through the education system. That's why the education system is so fucking rotten. That's why all of these teachers basically look hold on, I actually have a picture that's very relevant right now. Oh man, I have a picture that's super relevant right now. Hold on, this is the perfect timing for this. I didn't even plan this, but goddamn, this is perfect. That's why a lot of these teachers look something like this. That's why they look something like this. I don't know if that's a fucking teacher, but that could very easily be, your regular university teacher, and he laid all this stuff out, 20 or 30 years ago on air, and I feel like a lot of people have probably seen this, probably listened to it. But seriously, if you're somewhere around the center, go listen to it, and you can certainly connect the dots between what's happening nowadays and what this guy laid out. And it makes sense. Look, Russia, China, they realized that effectively the communists realized they could not beat the United States in a kinetic war because, well, I mean, the United States is the United States. What they can do, however, is they can integrate themselves, use the United States sort of openness and promotion of its own values against it by embedding itself in the education system. Then you get the young generation to kind of believe these absolutely destructive ideas like destruction of the family, destruction of, I'm going to say it right now, but religion as well, even though I'm not really a religious person, but I can definitely see why it is absolutely necessary at the society level to have some sort of, shared identity, to be honest. And they come in and they destroy these things, and they can embed their, communist values. And it is what it is, man. I'm going to check the chats now. Let's see what the hell is going on here. She is so handsome. She's so handsome. She's a lovely lady. That's right. That's what every liberal woman wishes they could be in bed with at night. Yeah, even then, man. One of the things that actually is doomed, however, one of the major fallacies with that line of thought from that subversion tactic is that because the left side of the political spectrum believes all of these things that are kind of counterintuitive to, I guess, general family, they're just going to not breed. They're just going to not fucking breed, and I mean, it's destined to go away. I mean, for fuck's sake, man, when you get rid of the family, like, what else do you expect? Anyways, yeah, they are playing the long game. It is what it is, man. Crown, say the name again so we can hear the name again better, yet write the name here. It's Yuri Bezmenov. Here, I'll just show you on YouTube, man. And again, he's not even like, it's not really like a political thing. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Oh, yeah, it's right here. So this was in 1983. So let's just actually, I'll show you right here. Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Bezmenov, B-E-Z-M-E-N-O-V, 1983 interview. He lays out the whole damn thing. It's an hour and a half long. You only need to watch this one right here, and you'll get a really clear idea from, again, a KGB defector. He was a part of the Russian system during the communist era, and he will lay out exactly what their strategy was and likely still is, whether it's Russia doing it, whether it's China doing it. If you're in the Western hemisphere of this world, or if you're in the Western world, essentially, because you don't necessarily need to be in the Western hemisphere, I think that this is super important to know, because this was the tactic of the enemy if you of course, don't like these sort of systems, which I understand some people do. I don't agree with it, but hey, you're entitled to your belief, but that's what we should probably be fighting over, not necessarily other shit. That's probably a waste. But yeah, man, it's right there for you. Realistically, you'll get the gist of it within just a few minutes of listening to this guy talking. You just need to take out the fucking bananas from your ears. Take out the damn bananas from your ears, and maybe you might be able to see these things, which makes sense as well. Anyways, I'll get back onto the stream over here. His buying strategy. Yeah, he's going to tell you how to DCA and buy into long-term uptrends. Absolutely beautiful. Similar to this indicator right here. Anyways. Buy and stack. Yeah, celebrating death is not okay. I mean, look, I think that celebrating some death is certainly okay. I mean, if we're talking about like a violent dictator who, you know, has caused wars, like, am I going to celebrate the death of Joseph Stalin or Hitler? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's great. I don't necessarily know if the right word is even celebrate, but I'd certainly be happy to have heard that news if I was around during that time. But again, these people had much different actions. I mean, these people literally caused the death of millions and millions and millions of people, you know, not to mention all sorts of other, you know, massive civilization fallout. That's a completely different than someone who is having different views than you, but expressing it in a just communicative way and having discussions about it. I think that's the exact right way to do things, and that's highly respectable. Even though, and this is total, you know, a total copy, but I don't agree with everything that Charlie Cook said. But then again, I don't agree with anything that I don't agree with everything that any person could possibly say, because we should all have some sort of disagreements, which shows that you actually have a fucking mind of your own, for God's sake. Anyways, ma'am, so, you know, whenever I saw that, it's like, well, I don't agree with everything he said, but, you know, he shouldn't have happened. It's like, no shit. You don't agree with everything on everyone. So it's a non-statement. Like, stop it. Just fucking stop. It's ridiculous. Anyways, the double standard. Charlie Kirk was a professional propagandist. That is your opinion. Still does not warrant death, actually. But yeah, that is your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, man. I disagree with it. I mean, well, honestly, I don't even really know. And I don't think you know either. But yeah, man. Anyways. Excuses for a bigot and a racist. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Again, see, that's the issue, man. You use these words without context, and it destroys the meaning of them. It destroys the meaning of it. Am I a bigot or a racist? No. Is he? From everything that I heard, from everything that I saw, from every, especially, you know, black person that interacted with him, they would say otherwise. You know, people who actually had real interactions with him. If you watch the mainstream news, of course, you're going to have a different idea, because they all have massive agendas. The news is entertainment first, and it's trying to tell you what you want to hear, and it's trying to make you as fucking radicalized as possible too, man. Anyways, yeah, you won't be able to define bigot, and you won't be able to find racist, because you're going to change it, you know, no matter what. So, you know, anyways, man, again, like I said, you're entitled to your views. Just don't fucking shoot me for it, okay? You crazy motherfucker. Anyways, should we talk about some magic internet money? Huh? That could be it as well. Politics don't unite. Bitcoin does. I don't know if Bitcoin does as well, man. I don't know if I mean, that would be the same thing as saying real estate should unite or gold should unite. Does it? I don't know, man. It is what it is. We shouldn't really assign any more value to it than what it actually is. But hey, you know, I think it's a pretty damn good idea. And it's sure, you know, God, you can see the chat going off, but yeah, you know, honestly, I do think most people, most reasonable people probably align somewhere there. It's like, look, fucking killing someone over their views, especially if they haven't had any violent, any actual violence. You can't do that. You can't do that. And there's there's nothing that you could say that could possibly dissuade me from that view. It's just, I'm sorry. No, that's not how it works. Anyways, the MK tube, the politicking. Yeah, man, a little bit of that. Chairs unite. Fuck yeah. We need some chairs as well. Anyways, as a card-carrying Nazi, I'm offended by how easy it is for someone to get labeled a Nazi. It used to mean something. Fair enough. Fair enough. How about that Bitcoin, man? How about that Bitcoin? Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, it's not even an argument. It's just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But, you know, I feel like this is a surprise to a lot of people as of recent as well. It's a surprise that people don't realize that, yeah, there's some really fucking crazy people out there who think that this is justified. I've always known that these people exist, or not always known, but I've learned that these people exist, and it's mostly sombred my reality for the past 10 years. You know, and unfortunately, it only takes one person to fuck everything up, or put a massive fucking spanner in the works at least. Anyways, all right, how about some Tesla? How about some Tesla, man? Yeah, Tesla rallying up above $400. I mean, that was pretty damn impressive, to be honest. or at least pre-market right now, it's about 425. We've been bullish on this one for a while, saying a little bit above 400 bucks. I mean, is this thing just going to make new fucking all-time highs from here? It's certainly in a position to do that, but I would not be front-running pre-market data just yet, man. Let's wait a day to pass before this thing's, before declaring this thing ready to move on to new all-time highs. But, whether it's now, whether it's later, I do think that it is more or less a formality personally. But if you want to go buy the book, let's wait for a monthly closure above 411, and then, yeah, this thing's going to get sent to fucking, I don't know, it's going to get sent to the heavens, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot of that A&M. There's probably a lot of that, man. Yeah, even Alex Becker and Elio Trades getting into the politics game as well. Pretty crazy to see, but also, I think it's also kind of comforting as well. Like, you're seeing people speak out who typically wouldn't have spoken out. How about some Rolls Royce? You need to give me some tickers on these, man. But yeah, we'll get into Bitcoin in just a moment here. I just want to give a little bit more time for people to join in, as always. Actually, we're getting a little bit higher than usual, so that's good. That's good at these times, especially what is, really a kind of a boring time for the rest of the market. I'm curious to see what Coinbase is doing here. Coinbase, yeah, again, another lower high in a series of lower highs. I still think this one's tough for a while, which is unfortunate. I still hold a lot of Coinbase, but I have moved around a lot of my investments. Okay, not a lot of my investments. I have rebalanced my losers in traditional markets. So we spoke about last week on a long-term investment video about selling your losers to buy your winners. That's kind of one of the major and I would say among the most important things I've learned in long-term investing. And last week I actually did that. Could I have waited a little bit longer to get probably a bigger loss than that? Yeah, but tax loss harvesting, is can be very, very delicate, I'll say. So, I did have a nice little loss on some of those losing investments. I'm happy to sell those, gain the loss to offset against my gains, and then go back and buy my winners and get out of these fucking losing shitty stocks, man. Some of these losing shitty stocks, Coinbase not among them, however. That one I would like to buy a little bit more a little bit later. But yeah, anyways, for the people who actually were around during my portfolio video, I do want to highlight that STRK is now below $100. Yes, I do think that this is going to go lower. Yes, I do own this, as I do own pretty much all of the MicroStrategy related dividend offerings. But to me, those Bitcoin bonds make a lot of fucking sense, especially with which one was it? It was STRF. Yeah, STRF and STRK probably the most right there. But yeah, this one now below $100, so I do like that. I even harvested a little bit on that one as well, just because, well, need to offset some gains. Anyways, let's get back to the corns. Bitcoin hangs around 115. Market hasn't even opened yet, so it's all as always kind of difficult to be making real analysis before these sort of things begin. But hey, there are a lot of things to be aware of coming into this week. We got a big event coming up later this week in just a couple of days here. I think it's either Wednesday. It's very likely Wednesday. It's going to be the FOMC meeting. The sort of anticipation, or at least certainly the expectation, which expectations are a very, very dangerous thing in markets, is that the Fed is going to lower the interest rates at least 0.25%, maybe even 0.5%, probably not, but I believe that is the expectation. Are they going to do that or not? I don't fucking know. I can't read their mind, nor can anyone, which is why I believe pontificating on these sort of things is highly, 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 highly stupid. It's actually fucking retarded, in fact, because you will never be able to read their mind unless you're an insider yourself, which most people are not. So let the fucking talking heads on all the social medias and all the mainstream medias pontificate upon these sort of things. We can go ahead and look at some statistics, because I do believe that there are some setups to be aware of here. So looking at Bitcoin, just referencing some Monday statistics to start this one off. As always, Monday is actually the most likely day to close positive out of any weekday of the past 3 years since 2023 began, which was the beginning of this bull market. Just under 54% of those Mondays were closing positively within that time. So it's not like a tremendously crazy amount, but it is higher than any other day. And of course, the average percent gain and the average percent loss for those Mondays, which we, as always, care the most about. In fact, it should be known that Monday has the highest average losses out of any weekday at just under 2%. And we can get a kind of a range boundary here. To the downside, that would be about 113,200. To the upside, that would be about 118,250. I think today is going to be one of those days where we don't see either one of those sides hits, to be honest. Either one of those sides hits. either one of those sides to be hit. What's up, Mr. Bear Nutrition? I see you, man. Good to fucking see you, man. I'll answer that question a little bit later, John, dude. But yeah, you know, in this case, I'm a little bit more favoring the downside here. I'm a little bit more favoring this evolving as what is more or less a local high. But hey, if you do see one of these ranges hit today, whether it be the upside boundary or the bottom side boundary, again, you're most likely going to see a bit of a, you know, a bit of a bounce, a bit of a pullback from that, depending upon which way you approach it from. Just like we saw on Saturday, the low of the day hitting the bottom side boundary, then bouncing back up. These are really easy and simple scalp plays on the first pass, not on the second pass, but on the first pass. Extremely high probability. So again, if you are a short-term time frame scalper, I like to pay attention to a lot of these sort of things, especially for just daily ranges. It's part of the Caretaker's Indicator Suite package. You can also try it out for free for 7 days. But speaking of the Caretaker's Indicator Suite package, I do want to get into probably my favorite one from that, which is the HPDR for the weekly on CME here. Bitcoin opened up more or less at the median, a little bit below the median, as the median is now twisting down, and this becomes a really easy sort of bouncing point for the market, meaning that as long as you are below the median, it is better to be treating this, at least in my opinion, as a likely swing high with downside implied from here. And that has also fulfilled a sort of gap fill that we saw from middle of August when Bitcoin dropped from about 117 all the way down to 112, 110-ish region from open to close. Over the weekend. Now Bitcoin's filled that, opened up below the median, now using the median to push back on price action. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, which is 116,500 on CME, I will have a downside bias amongst other things as well. And the 38.2 level to the downside is an area of interest here. Obviously not for this week. I highly doubt we'd see anything down around there this week, but perhaps over the next month or something like this. That is currently at 104,500. Keep that number in the back of your mind's eye. We're going to come back to it a little bit later, but before that, I do want to get into some other technicals. Or actually, you know what? Let's go directly forward, in fact. But understand there are several more pertinent things in the next couple weeks that I think are a lot more relevant. This is not something that's going to be relevant this week, I would imagine. At earliest, this might be like a last week of September thing, probably more like October, honestly. But of course, the setup that we were looking at over here with the 4-day time frame, referencing the interplay between the red and the yellow moving average. Whenever we see a crossover of the red moving average, which is a 4 EMA on the 4-day time frame to the downside of the yellow moving average, that has initiated a minimum correction down to the green moving average, which guess where that one is? Guess where the fuck that one is? 104,400, by the way, as of right now. Again, not going to be happening today or tomorrow, not going to be happening this week, probably doesn't even happen this month, to be honest. Although maybe very late this month, I guess it could be possible. But yeah, you know, these things are confluent with each other, and we've seen this play out for the past 8 years flawlessly every fucking time. Now, it can take some time to actually get down towards that target, and in fact, this one I think is going to take probably the longest of any iteration that we've seen in the past 8 years. The longest priorly has been just 3 closures from the initial open, which is, of course, 12 days on something like this. This one I think is going to take longer, to be honest, but ultimately, all of these have played out in that fashion over the past 8 years, again with a minimum correction down to that green moving average. We saw it over here most recently. Bitcoin dropped even another 20% below that green moving average before it found its real low. Over here, same thing, another 20% down. This one over here about 10%, or sorry, 5% down. These over here very minimal, just a few percent down, but yes, they still met it and hit that again minimum target. These ones over here wicking down significantly below for this one and this one especially. But yeah, all of these follow the same sort of pattern. So I would really highlight that, because ultimately, until Bitcoin retests that green moving average, I would be very skeptical of all of the people who are saying, hey, it's Bitcoin's going to blast up to fucking 200,000, 300,000 from here. I think that's possible further down the road, absolutely. But you know, that could be a year or two down the road, or I mean, that could be well more than a couple years down the road, and in my opinion, certainly more than the next month or two. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm happy to be wrong on that. In fact, I would be I'd probably be the happiest person here, or probably be one of the people who benefits the most here from being wrong on that. But again, stats are fucking stats at the end of the day. That's really the crux of this channel. Stats are fucking stats. So that still does exist. On top of that, we can see in the more short term, there is potential for hidden bearish divergence on today's daily closure. If Bitcoin closes realistically anywhere below about 114,750, I would say, you will have that hidden bearish divergence. Until that, until you really close below there, I probably wouldn't be front running the signal. I think that this one could very easily take its time. But the second that you start to close daily deltas below 114,700, let's say, at that point, I'd be looking at this as a confirmed local high, which has hidden bearish divergence and is also a lower high than the swing high that we saw from August 21st back on over here. So all of these things, again, working together. I think you'll also see it on CME. In fact, you will definitely see it on CME. Again, if Bitcoin closes the day below 114,700, let's say, at that point, yeah, you got that same sort of divergence play kind of working in the background alongside very, very low volatility. On top of this, remember that we were looking at the stochastic momentum on the higher term timeframes, specifically CME weekly and above, and all of them are more or less on the same side now, in fact. So let's go over it right here. We did just have a 2-week time frame and a 3-week time frame close simultaneously last Friday for CME. So now we see the weekly time frame is showing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin's closing below 118. Again, if this confirms as a local and lower high with hidden bearish divergence, it's getting back above 118. I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon. The 2-week time frame, again, which just closed just closed last night for spot, but last Friday for CME, is showing downside momentum, again, losing the critical zone right here upon the next period if Bitcoin finishes the next 2-week period below 120. The 3-week time frame, which also closed simultaneously alongside the others, is also going to be showing the first cross to the downside since January of 2025. So earlier this year, when that major correction was first kind of ongoing, and that will continue down as long as Bitcoin's closing below 118. Again, all the crosses within this region have effectively signaled major macro highs for Bitcoin since the inception on this time frame, and that's going to be combined at some point, I guess not this month, but the bi-monthly time frame, again, coming in from a really high angle here, cross to the downside on this one, which hopefully we can load this thing in the next fucking few seconds. We'll see. I'm gonna take a sip of this coffee while we do. Yeah, that one actually won't be crossing down just yet. That's 112,350, so fair enough. And then the quarterly time frame, which closed at the end of September, so at the end of this month, in about 15 days, quite literally, is going to be loading as well, but I actually forget where the pivot is on this one. I think it's lower. No, yeah, it is lower. Okay, it's 106,100. We'll see where that one comes in for the Q4 open. Let's see if spot price action is anything different right here. I imagine it's probably not, but I just want to know just to be fully clear. By the way, today's a big day for me. I'm going to be taking my driver's test. I haven't had a driver's license in like 6 years, so I'm really excited. I've been studying the driver's handbook. I have taken several practice tests with the good old help of ChatGPT, and in my last test, I only missed one fucking question, okay? The last 5 have been over 90%. Oh, baby, I'm feeling good, man, but these motherfuckers, they're out to get you. Anyways, yeah, quarterly over here for CME actually is a little bit higher, I should add. Now, I don't know what the hell happens by the end of this month. I still kind of have a difficult time seeing like significant downside before the end of September, although that doesn't really matter, but 109 is the pivot right here. Again, in charts, in territory uncharted. In the critical zone, by the way, as well, and also on a disconnect of that red moving average. So whether this quarterly closes here, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, at some point we really would be expecting in Q4 a reconnect with that red moving average. Even in the most bullish of circumstances, and right as of this moment, that is down around $94,500 US. So fair enough. Anyways, oh man. Good old coffee. Good old cold brew, man. Good old cold brew. And then also, I wanted to bring back this indicator as well. The new one, we haven't released it or anything like that. But I do want to show it on video here because it is pretty fucking cool, and it's actually super helpful for directional analysis on YouTube. This is the Revan ribbons, or the redact ribbons, as some people have requested. And yeah, as we went over last week, this one did hit its targets which was in this blue box right here. It's effectively your targeted region. It is now rejecting from that supposedly. So, again, a closure below 114,700 does initiate a move back down, very likely around this orange box right here. That's kind of like the next sort of pattern target, if you will. That would still be a higher low, to be fair. So, that's still kind of a bullish view. And by the way, there is actually a bullish view. Well, is it a bullish view or is it just a... Okay, I don't know if it's a bullish. I don't know if it's proper to say that it's a bullish view. It's probably not proper, but I will probably go over in tomorrow's video not a setup, but just statistics for September that do show the last 15 days of September actually generally are green. They actually generally are green about 80% of the time throughout Bitcoin's history. But I suppose we'll see. I suppose we'll see. It's a long, it's a long 15 days left to go. But yeah, that is in there. Anyways, we went over that. Then one last thing. This one kind of new, kind of not. This is the weekly time frame. Or let me actually just see the bi-weekly really quickly, because this might actually have something completely. Oh wow, yeah, this actually does have something of significance here. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to the weekly just to be consistent with what I've written down, but. The weekly MACD did cross the downside. This was back in late August, and we spoke about this before. We spoke about how all major corrections during this cycle have been started by, well, not necessarily started by, but have had this as, an indication. All of these, 20% or more corrections really over the past 8 years here again. In fact, in some cases, significantly greater than that. In one case, a lot less. This one was 13% over here. So not that bad compared to the other ones, obviously, but this has happened once again. And I also want to note here that over the past, since 2018, so over the past 7 years, over the past 7 years now, anytime that we've seen that weekly MACD cross the downside, there's been a minimum correction to the green moving average as well, the 55 EMA on the weekly time frame. That's all the way down at $95,500. Just saying. Again, it doesn't mean it's going to get there like right now. You can see that these last few ones did take at least a couple months or more. I mean, this one was 2 months, this one was 3 months, this one was closer to 3.5 months. Other ones, maybe, well, I don't know if there's necessarily like a rhyme or reason for these, but at least around about 2 months, it seems kind of be like the going rate on minimum. And this one just happened, kind of recently in late August. But yeah, that is in there. So again, there are just multiple things that, to me, suggest it's not a time to be looking for massively new all-time highs, blow off fucking top parabolic move from here. That's not what I'm seeing based off of the history. Again, I'm happy to be wrong on this. I'd be very, very happy to be wrong on this, but it is what it is. And as always, as I've told, as I've said many times on this channel, I'm always going to go with the thing that is more statistically likely. That doesn't mean I'm always going to be right. In fact, it means that I'm guaranteed to be wrong sometimes. Or it's not necessarily that I'm wrong. It's just, what I was looking for to happen is not going to happen. It's going to be the opposite. It's completely fine. That's a part of the game. That's a part of the fucking game. But in this case here, look, there are several things that do suggest lower. So personally, I'm going to maintain a more cautious bias here with some downside price action, but I don't want to be seen as bearish because that is not inherently bearish. In my opinion, if Bitcoin spends the next month or two going sideways and down, I don't know how long it takes, but the longer it takes, honestly, the better, to be quite frank. But if Bitcoin were to spend like the next 2 to 3 months going sideways and down, that very likely would set up this whole market for continuation of this very, very beautiful stair-stepping up behavior that we've seen, which is super constructive and suggests that this cycle will continue on longer than what most people are likely looking for, which is typically that 4-year cycle. I think that is very likely done. And if we get a correction here, maybe Bitcoin comes down to like mid-90s. That's fine. And that takes like a month or two or 3 or whatever, how long it takes. I think that would set up for another push to the upside, maybe to like 150, 160 in 2026. That would be beautiful. I know that's not what the crypto degen wants, because the crypto degen comes into this market with a very, very small amount of cash, hoping to turn their $100 or $1,000 into $100,000 or $1 million. Look, I don't think that you're going to do that with Bitcoin, to be quite frank. Could you do it maybe with some sort of random shitcoin? Yes. Are the probabilities against you? Absolutely massively. But hey, that opportunity does does, I guess, exist there. But with Bitcoin, you know, this is the sort of behavior of a maturing, beautiful, strengthening asset over time. You're not getting these sort of, you know, just parabolic blow off tops that we've seen in the past, which lead towards these, of course, parabolic dumps. You know, that's not a good thing, structurally speaking, for the long term. If you do want to be a long-term investor, this is more indicative of Bitcoin more or less acting like a, you know, a traditional market ETF. I know some people don't like that. That's fine. We can have different opinions. Please don't shoot me. but no, seriously, like, don't fucking shoot me, okay? Like, I don't want to get shot. Like, look, I'll say whatever the fuck you want me to say. No, I'm kidding. I won't. All right, look, men are men, women are women. You can pretend. It's all good. And I don't know. What else? Doesn't really matter, man. Look, if you are a man in a relationship with a trans female, you're just gay with an extra step, okay? You are inefficiently gay, all right? You're taking too fucking long to get there. Just go suck a dick. It's going to be fine. And there's nothing wrong with being gay. We love our fucking gay people. For God's sake, man. Anyways, that's your positive message for the day. Go out there and suck a pee-pee. It's all good. You don't need to pretend. Anyways, yes, so we've gone through that. I think we've hit just about everything that we've wanted to hit. I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret here that I'm working with Mr. Pesto from our Discord and just a lovely community. We're working on a long-term investors tool that basically tells you, hey, like, this is a good time. This is long-term, like a good value area. And it's almost ready, and I'm really fucking happy with it. It's actually pretty simple, but I fucking love these sort of things, man. It systematizes simple things so that you don't fuck them up with long-term investing. Anyways, awesome stuff. All right, let's see how many people I pissed off in the comment section, and how many people are en route to sniper my fucking head off right now. Let's see. Let me actually first take a sip of this. Dude, with a head of hair like that, no one would ever shoot you. I don't know what the hell that means, but sure, man. I don't know. Is that supposed to be offensive or something? Is that supposed to be like a good insult? Man, you got me. Fuck, man. That one really hurt. Why would you say that, bro? Anyways, all right. Let's see what else is already lined up for some good old comment action. Let's talk some more shit along the way, because I love that, man. Everyone loves that. I met with a oh god. Anyways, all right. Steven Schickman, as always, is first. He's looking at Doggy and Doggy versus Bitcoin, and then also Ethereum. Jesus, man, a lot of them won today. See what Doggy looks like. Last we looked at it, we said, hey, somewhere around 30 cents, maybe a little bit above 30 cents. It got actually precisely a little bit above 30 cents. So not bad. Now that I recognize it, I wouldn't have probably seen this before, but it did perfectly hit this trend line extension from the price action pivots right here and wicked off of that. It still does have an overall uptrend. And you know what? I'm going to say the same thing as before, Steven, in that, look, as long as the monthly is above all major moving averages, which it almost certainly is right now. Yeah, it has to be, as long as you're above 22 cents. I can't really be bearish on it overall. But do I think that this is a swing high right here and it's going to come down in the short term to 24.5 cents? Yeah. If it is going to be bullish, I'd be really expecting a higher load around 24.5 cents. If it comes back down much more below there, I would be really signaling major caution. And of course, below 22 cents, you know, it loses its whole thing, in my opinion. But, you know, still holds the monthly. It's got another 15 days left to go. Can it remain above there and keep the hopium alive? I suppose we shall see next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyways, going over to Bitcoin, Doggy versus Bitcoin. Definitely a less impressive chart right here. You know, you do kind of have the makings of a potential breakout. It is still struggling around that 245 Satoshi region. You know, if it can close above there, I do think that you will get an official move over to 280. That's kind of what we were saying before. It already got up last week or over the past few days to 265. I mean, look, I have to be biased towards this thing going to the downside, especially with more or less rejection off the 200 simple. I mean, fuck, man. Like, yes, I do think that this one is you know, is honestly doomed versus Bitcoin, but You're supposed to be unbiased, supposed to be going by the book. If you go by the book, still kind of a higher low right there, kind of wedging itself into an ascending triangle. If you do get a closure above 245, I suppose at that point, you know, might see a move towards 300 or I guess 320-ish region. I think that that's highly unlikely personally, but that would be going by the book. If I'm giving my opinion on it, I think that that's probably the high of whatever rally you're going to get right there. Again, just personal opinion. And then Ethereum. Let's see, Ethereum, objectively in a better place than most other things, or most things that we'll probably see today. Consolidating at the highs, that's never a bad thing. Do I think that this is a swing high right here and it comes back down to like 4,300? Probably yes, but that's not necessarily bearish. Bearish on this thing would only be back down below 4,000 over the long term now. You know, the monthly closing above 4,100 last month was very significant in my opinion, so I would still be giving this one the benefit of the doubt. I'd still be looking at this as more or less consolidation on the highs, which likely leads towards continuation. The only way that I change around my opinion on that is, again, with a weekly closure below about 4,000 bucks at that point. I don't know, send it to fucking Hades, I guess. But yeah, you know, looking at the quarterly here, again, it's very hard chart to hate. You got higher lows and a higher high. It's a literal reversal in front of our face. Just needs to finish the next 15 days above about 4,100 to complete it. And at that point, you know, it really should be on its ways to living above prior all-time highs. But yeah, we shall see, man. Pizza says, GM Crown, what's up, man? Could you please take a look at XRP? I can look at it. Some time frames would be helpful to make this more relevant to you, but sure, man. Very similar over here, kind of in the short term. You know, another swing high, which is a lower high in a series of lower highs, and same low. So it is kind of wedging itself into what would be a descending triangle, I suppose, with your base right here and your declining highs, you know, looking something like this. Elsa, what is the issue in the background there? What is going on? What? Anyways. I would honestly be treating this one as, you know, it's more likely to come back down to like 280, 270-ish region. It's a really simple chart to be looking at, actually. In fact, this is probably the easiest one that we'll see right now. If you see any sort of a move back above Friday's high at 320, bullish. Just straight up bullish. Look for it to retest this per all-time high. Probably even go higher. Do I think it's going to correct more first before trying anything like that? Yes, I do. But that would be the easiest sort of interpretation of this one. Yeah. And to be fair, you know, again, on the monthly, this is not terrible right here, in my opinion. You're above all major moving averages. I'm never going to hate that. My rule is to remain generally bullish on anything that's above all major moving averages on a monthly time frame. And for this one, it just needed to remain above 270. But hey, it can correct within this overall formation and still actually remain above 270. So, you know, we'll see if it actually breaks it before the end of month. If it does, and I guess that would disrupt that that pattern. But until then, you know, still in a better position than probably most things we're going to see today, to be honest. Anyways, moving on, we got thinking about the name. He's looking at Link. Link also kind of similar in the sense that it's above all those major moving averages, maybe more similar to Dogecoin. Yeah. Yeah, you know, you do have higher lows here. You got same highs, so that's good, or better than most things. Do I think it might correct back down to meet that red moving average at very low $20? Very possible, but again, that's not necessarily bearish. That's just a consolidation around the highs. You can see, again, the same sort of thing here. A lower high alongside of this one actually has bearish divergence because it's looking at this high versus this high, but fair enough. So, you know, do I think it comes back down to this base here at $22? Probably yes. Probably tries for a bounce there as well. I wouldn't be getting super bearish on it just yet. The only way that I get super bearish on it is below about $20 or $20.20 on, let's say, a weekly time frame closure. Until then, you know, I think you might do something similar to XRP. Spends a lot of time consolidating here, shaking shit out, and then maybe trying again to the upside. But hey, I would be very happy to get extremely bearish on all these things if they do close their monthlies below that red 5 EMA. Until then, I just don't think it's wise to be getting and looking for like a super massive breakdown or anything like that. Yeah. Anyways, again, just my own personal rules based off of my own history. But yeah, short term, do I think it comes down a little bit? Yes. Long term, as long as you're above about 20 and a quarter. I think it's okay, at least below there, very bad, but we'll discuss that if and when it does happen. And then we got John Dude. He's looking at Litecoin Derp. It's like all of these ones, which look very similar to each other, popping up right now. All of them look the same. I'm a fucking shitcoin racist. Am I going to get murdered for that belief as well? Probably, because people get more fucking religious about their goddamn shitcoins than they get religious about religions. Well, maybe not actually, but they can get as religious. I'll do my fucking honor killings for your discretions of talking shit about Litecoin. Anyways, Litecoin here, the monthly is, as I've been saying, still above all major moving averages. I'm not going to get super bearish until you actually close below about 104. Or if you really come back down below August lows and close like a daily below there, okay, that would be pretty fucking ugly as well. But until that happens, man, short term, do I think it's corrective here? Yeah. Do I think it comes down to 106? Probably yes. Do I think it's going to try for a bounce there? Also yes. Below 104, now we have real problems. But for right now, it's got the same sort of chart formation, hidden bearish divergence on this last local high right here. I think you come back down towards those August 31st lows. Do you actually close below there? Well, that's not super problematic. Again, it's 104 is the big problematic region. Until then, you can still make an argument for it, but make no mistake, I will be extremely, extremely quick to get extremely bearish if these things do finish their monthlies below those major pivots. That is a big deal, in my opinion, a very big deal. Until then, I think hopium can still kind of be reasonable. It's not even reasonable. It's actually the right thing in my experience to do. But for fuck's sake, man, like that below those 5 EMAs on the monthly, that's where it gets really, really ugly. Anyways, we got the Mossinator. The Mossinator says CRWV, CRWV. This is CoreWeave. Oh yeah, this is one of the meme stocks. Look, I think you've seen alt season in stock market, not in crypto market, or I mean, kind of in crypto market, I guess, but in stock market more so. This one, does it pop back down and maybe fill around 111.5 to 112? Maybe yes, maybe no. Either which way, I do think that's a good bounce region. For something like this, I honestly wouldn't treat it just bearish just yet. The only way I'd get very bearish on this, and I would get very fucking bearish on it, is if you did come back down below Friday's low and especially close the daily below that. But that's all the way at 104. So ultimately, do I think something like this is going to have a chance to, to bounce up here after a bit of a fill down to like, I don't know, 112-ish? Yeah, give it a chance. And especially if you see a weekly closure above about 130, this thing is very likely going to explode, in my opinion, 150, 160-ish region. Yeah, but just understand what those pivots generally are as I get a nice little sip of this water from my Thor cup. Yes, my Thor cup. I have like 5 of these from different superheroes. I'm not even like a real big superhero guy, but I fucking love them, man. I love them. Anyways, Snotma. He says, Fear and Living from Sarasota, Florida. I hear it's beautiful over there, man. First live chat. I appreciate the nice positive message, man. Feel free to have like a request as well, but all good, man. I appreciate it, man. More power to you, brother. Straight Path says, GM Crown, what's up, man? I've been in CIFR since $3 to $4. I could have guessed that because of how much you ask about it, sir. Let's bring up the chart first, though. All right, so $3 to $4, you're in basically like a 3.5 to 4x from where you entered. I think that's phenomenal. That's absolutely beautiful. And your question is, you sold at $10 last week. I think that's a phenomenal trade, man. I think that's a phenomenal trade. Do you see a pullback here or more upside towards $13 to $15? I do think that this thing probably does spike a little bit higher from where it's at right now. If you want to get super granular with it, I think $13, is fine. Somewhere between $12 to $13. Very close there already. You've had the massive bulk of those gains. So please do not, I would say the biggest mistake you can make right now is to fucking FOMO in right here to make the extra like $1 or $2 that you missed. You didn't miss shit. This is a really, really powerful concept that I really hope to hit very powerfully on all of my long-term investing videos. When you sell your long-term investments, understand you are almost never going to be able to sell the exact high. Why? Because whatever you're using to exit is likely going to, well, at least in my case, is going to be based off of trend in some way. So naturally, I'm going to only exit when the trend shifts. Thus, I'm going to be, in my experience, like 15% away from the high, somewhere around there, and that's like a good one. 20%, 25%, pretty bad, but 15% definitely acceptable. You don't need to make the whole move is what I'm trying to say. Now, do I think it's going to drop down at some point back to like $9-ish? Yes, I do think so. Do I think it tries again to the upside from there? Maybe, yeah, but you had the beautiful, easy move right here. I don't know if you really wanted to hold this one for forever. Maybe that's a fundamental thing for you. I can't answer that question for you. But ultimately, do I think this one will try a little bit higher here first before pulling back? Yeah, I do. If that's the question, that is essentially what I'd be thinking. I think that it does try a little bit higher from where it's at right here. But for fuck's sake, man, do not make the generational fucking error of trying to chase the last 10% of a move when you already had a fucking 300% move. For the love of God, please don't do that. Again, I'm not your dad, but oh man, it's such a painful mistake that I'm sure many people are familiar with, and I know myself as well. So for fuck's sake, man, do not chase a good trade with a bad trade. You had a fucking beautiful trade, man. You really did. But yeah, do I think it's gonna spike a little bit more to the upside? I do. It's okay though. It's okay. You made a fucking professionally amazing trade, man. Tracy Brooks says stonk CRDO, daily, weekly, and long-term price. Hell yeah, man. CRDO. Credo Technology Group Holding. All right. Very fucking bullish. This is the monthly. You're going on a daily and a weekly. This one's in a blue sky breakout, more or less. When you're in a blue sky breakout, you just get out of the way of this damn thing. Now, in the short term, do I think you're going to put in a local high right here and play out some divergence? Yeah, most likely, yes. Maybe I think you at least fill the gap at 152. Maybe you pop all the way down to like 140-ish region. Either which way, these are all higher lows. This thing is still overall bullish, but if I had to say where I think this one is in the grand scheme of things, I do think it's very close to the blow off top here. So whether it has another month or two, I don't know. I don't know how much higher it gets, but I do think that this thing has seen the overwhelming majority of its gains before this next major correction. In the short term, I think you got a little bit of downside, which should likely be followed by another try to the upside, to be honest. But what the hell am I getting a call from right now? I'm getting a call from North Carolina. Hold on. Let me just see. I'm going to turn off the mic for a moment here. Hello? All right. Okay. Hi, this is Allstate Health. Do you have a moment for a survey? Actually, this is a terrible time. Anyways, Jay Carr says, I can't hit a thumbs up on your live stream, just an FYI. Fuck! We'll never be liked ever again! Well, I appreciate it. It's the thought that matters, sir. Thank you very much for that. Anyways, what's up, Gallo? GM, sir, got rugged last night with DOT. For fuck's sake, why'd you trade these stupid illiquid pieces of shit? For fuck's sake, man, goddamn. Look, I speak a little bit more directly to Gallo because we have a nice ongoing conversation now. I really like Gallo. But goddamn, man, what the fuck are you doing? On a weekend, on a literal shitcoin? Oh my God, you have lost your fucking mind. You've lost your fucking, like, what are you doing? What are you thinking trading some garbage like this? Why? If the chart looks like this, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy from me, man. I know that's terrible to say. Oh God, here it starts. GM, sir, got rugged last night with DOT. I see potential for bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. No, hell no. Hell fucking no. Holy shit, no. No. God damn, man. Like, oh. There is no universe. Okay, this is what I mean by playing these absolute garbage pieces of shit from prior cycles. There is no fucking universe where you should ever be risking precious equity, precious money on shit like this. Yes, every once in a while they will have a nice move. Absolutely, that can happen. But the probabilities are so fucking far against you. They're so fucking far against you. If you're gonna gamble, you might as well do it with something that's new, okay? I understand some people just love to fucking gamble, but goddamn, if you're gonna gamble, don't do it on garbage like this. Holy shit, fuck. Just throw your money down the toilet, man. Go to Vegas and at least buy a prostitute or something, man, for fuck's sake. Total waste. Total fucking waste of capital. Total fucking waste of capital. Like, if I'm more mad about you losing money than probably you are, man. It makes me furious. It makes me fucking furious. Can we do a 4-hour weekly? Garbage and more garbage. Just fucking bullshit garbage, man. Terrible, 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 terrible. And 10 more fucking terribles. Jesus Christ. Can it go to... You're asking if it's going to get a 50% fucking moves here after just putting in a lower high alongside a rejection of a major movement average in a long-term downtrend, which has never even had an uptrend to begin with. No. Hell no. Not even close. It would be a gift from God. It would be a gift from God himself if this thing even got anywhere near $5. Unbelievable garbage. Unfucking believable garbage. Sorry, man. Not you. I love Gallo. Gallo's a great guy. I speak to him like this out of love, okay? Terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. What the hell were you doing trading? Again, if you are going to trade something like this, you trade it to the downside. Because why? Because the long-term trend is to the downside, meaning that even if you're wrong, you'll probably get bailed out long-term. You can't trade something like this to the upside because you're not going to get bailed out to the upside if you're going to hold shit positions against the long-term trend. Not even the long-term trend, but also the short-term trend. It's also in a downtrend on a fucking daily. 4-hour time frame, do we have an uptrend here? Kind of, barely, but the long-term history should tell you that all rallies fail. Yes, some of them get quite high, but they all fucking fail, and so you're always at risk of a rug pull on shit like this. You didn't get rugged, you rugged yourself, man. You rugged yourself. I'm sorry to say, but you rugged yourself. It's like, I'm so surprised that this thing fucking rugged. It only has a history of its full lifetime of always rugging. Crazy. How did that happen? Sorry, man. I don't mean to make an example out of you, honestly. Just having a little bit of fun. But yeah, I mean, I do mean everything that I said about this chart is fucking god-awful. SS says, PP on the short term, 4-hour and daily, please. Sure, ma'am. I mean, at least this thing compared to the last thing, at least it doesn't just dump to fucking all hell all the time. Now, I very likely will, given enough time. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's literally PP. It's a fucking meme coin. You got another lower high right here. Crazy idea. You have a silver cross to the downside. You have, I'm guessing, probably some hidden bearish divergence. In fact, you do between this high and this high right here. Bullish. Look, man, I think that this one's coming back down close to these lows. Whatever these lows are from early September, somewhere back down around there. Bounces along the way, probably. Nothing moves in a straight line, but if anything's going to move in a straight line, it's these shit coins to the downside. But yeah, probably bounce attempt at the 200 simple. Don't get fucking sucked into shit like this. It's going to very likely fail. Price says Palantir stock on the weekly and monthly. Sure, man. PLTR. PLTR. One of my favorites, although I do think it's probably top for a while here. I still think it's top for a while here, man. Yes, there was hidden bullish evidence. Yes, it did pop up. Yes, that's an easy bounce off of a major movement average for sure, but it's not the same thing as this thing continuing just yet. However, when I do go to the monthly, my rule is don't get bearish as long as you're above the 5 EMA, and that's at 150. So actually, to be fair to it right now, it still does hold above there. I just personally don't think it's going to make new highs here before playing out a more decent pullback. That's just personal opinion. If I'm going off of just straight up technical analysis, well, I do think that this is more or less a swing high in the making here, and it does come back down to base, but it all matters upon how the monthly settles. Does the monthly settle below 150 or not? If it does, I think we're in for a big correction, if maybe close to like 100. Again, I still think that long-term would be bullish, but I mean, these are just crazy indicator reads here after a pretty monumental run. Again, this is a stock that I own. This is a stock that I actually own, and I'd like to buy more of as well. So maybe I am talking my book here, but ultimately, I think that you've seen a blow off top here, more or less. You got 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. Monthly, it doesn't really have any divergence, to be fair, because there's just no highs along the way. It's just one massive girthy green dildo party to the upside. It's pretty impressive, honestly. But yeah. Anyways, my opinion on something like this, I think you're probably putting in a high somewhere below like 180, coming back down to these bases over here. And then does the monthly close above or below that number? If it does, hoping it remains alive for another push to new all-time highs, I suppose. If it does not, then I think very long-term correction gets initiated. You see this thing back down to like 115-ish. If that were to happen, something like that, man. Spencer Smith says True Leave Cannabis Corp. Okay, just the ticker, man, is all good. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. You are Rate my shitcoin stonk. Okay. Oh yes. Okay. This. Oh no. This one is actually not the exact one you're looking for. This is the OTC, but this is the closest thing I can find. Let's see. Yeah, long term, it's got a shitcoin chart, right? OTC stuff is like basically shitcoins. You just had a rejection here on a lower high alongside the 200 simple, alongside hidden bearish divergence from your highs of October 2024. This high right here, significantly lower high, rejection of a major moving average, and momentum oscillators having divergence. I think that this is going to be a high for a long time, and I think this thing comes back down to like below $5. There's going to be stops along the way, probably a nice bounce attempt around, I don't know, just below $6, but I don't think it's reversing here. I think that this thing's coming down. I mean, maybe at some point it does buck the trend, but I'm not going to front run a trend reversal until I have that proved, until it proves it to me, because these trends go on for a very long time typically. Here for a good time says, hi, sir, IWM Daily Weekly. This is, this is mid caps. Russell 2000. Let's see how this one's doing. Last we looked at it was quite good, and it's still overall pretty good. I don't know if it's necessarily a good sign that mid caps are rallying, but yeah, overall this is a bullish chart, man. I think that this thing makes new all-time highs. Maybe not this month, but probably in Q4 of this year. Any sort of a closure, especially above like 230, I think sets this thing up for a new all-time high try. You got a higher low, you got same highs, thus, odds favor upside continuation, man. Pretty damn good. Now, if we're on a daily or a weekly, do I think it's going to bust through right here? If that's a question, that's a very difficult question. I don't think it will. I think it will pull back a little bit first and then try it probably in Q4. But these are not opinions that I have that are strong or anything like this. So for that question, I really don't know, man. By the way, I'm curious, how do you like Dallas, man? I hear a lot of good things about Dallas. I also hear a lot of bad things about Dallas. I think some people just hate Texas because, but yeah, man, overall, I like it. In the short term, do I think it might pull back? I think it's definitely possible. So I wouldn't be like front running a breakout just yet, to be honest. So yeah. All right. Just one moment. Will we bust through 240 and into small cap heaven? I think in Q4 probably, yeah. But this is mid caps, not small caps, man. Illy says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Could you have a look at Nilion on a 4-hour daily? Okay, this is a new shitcoin request. I've never seen this one before, but you are actually asking a, this is not something that you see on a shitcoin request very often. You're asking for downside targets. Well, fair enough. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe this is a really bullish chart. It's not, but it hasn't been around for that long, so I guess that's one thing. But it's been around during periods of times where we've seen Bitcoin make new all-time, and this thing just continues with its downtrend. So that's a very, very bad sign in my opinion, or it's not even in my opinion. That's objectively a bad sign. You got higher highs in your RSI here from just Friday versus July highs. So highs were much higher over here. I think that this is going to be your next swing high for a while. I think this thing comes back down around these lows. Does it make new lows from there? The trend is your friend, so over a long enough period of time, very likely, but you probably bounce along the way a few times, I'd imagine. 4-hour time frame, not going to be humongously different. Do I think it comes down a little bit from here before a bounce attempt? Yeah, you probably got a bounce attempt somewhere around like 29.25, something like that. But again, I don't think that that's going to be a reversal. I think that this thing is generally to the downside, Mr. Sir. I'm guessing you're from Norway. Man, we should have gone to Norway. Norway looks so cool. I Show You says, with a very nice... Never mind. Can you check out SDEX on MEXC? Sure. Let's try it. All right. SDEX, another new one for me. I've seen a couple of new ones today. These shitcoins just come out of the fucking woodwork during these times. Bizarre chart. Overall pretty bad, man. Overall pretty bad. It's been around for a couple of years now. At least it made a new high in March of 2024, but it's been down only since. So while the rest of the market, or the strong things in the market, have made new all-time highs, this thing got about 50% away from its prior all-time high in the December rally, and then nowhere near since. So overall, terrible. This sort of stuff, man. Now, can it rally? Can it have these one-off rallies that inevitably fail? Yes. So you're gonna hate me if I say, yeah, it's an overall terrible bearish chart, and then it rallies maybe up to like fucking 0.7% and then fails there. These things, I don't have, at some point they do get these crazy rallies. Like that's a deceiving part of them. Do I think that this thing could reasonably top right here again? Yeah, I do think so. You're more or less on a rejection of the 200 simple. You got potential for hidden bearish divergence on any sort of a closure by end of day today below about 4.5 tenths of a cent. At that point, I'd say, hey, this thing's ready to continue with your major massive downtrend. But, you know, whether my analysis is you go down from here, you pump up first and then go down, it's all the same destination over a long period of time, man. I just wouldn't be betting on any sort of real upside, especially to reclaim any sort of major macro highs ever again. So your last one was all the way at 1.7 cent. I don't think you're going to ever get near there again, to be honest. I think it would be a gift from God to get up to 0.7 of a cent. And I don't even think that that's going to happen, to be honest. But, you know, you never know when these one-off pumps come. So that's why I always kind of leave a little bit of room for that, because it can theoretically happen and does, you know, every once in a while. But they all fail. They all fail. That's kind of the issue with these things. So kind of a long way of saying, I don't know about in the short term. Maybe it does try one of these crazy moves. Maybe it doesn't. Probably not. If I had to guess, long term, I feel very confident. You will continue to see sideways and down as it descends into the long-term dead heartbeat chart of destiny, which is where 99.9% of these things go towards. Mr. John says, GM Crown and Elsa, good morning to you as well, sir. Bitmine stock BMNR. Ah, this is Tom Lee's herpity derp. Let's see. BMNR. Actually, I haven't really even looked at this one in recent, or really much at all, to be honest. To be fair, it does have a higher low here, so can't really hate it as far as stonks go, or as far as shitcoin stonks go. You are right at the next price action pivot, which is 55.75. So closing above there should open up a lane towards a rally of like 73.5, maybe even above there towards 90. But that's kind of like where the major area of interest is as of this moment. Until you close above there, there is no like technical move to be made. And as long as you're below there, I mean, if this thing starts to reject, which it will be considered a reject, if you start to close back down below $50, I'd be looking for another return back down to base at 41, 42 bucks. That'd still be a higher low, to be fair. So, you know, this one has a bit of hopium here. Long term, I know that they've kind of had to switch up on what they actually do, so it's kind of hard to analyze this, but for what it's worth, like not the picture of health and fitness, I would say. But yeah, over here, above 55, 75, let's say, on a daily closing basis, I think that you actually do put in a pretty decent rally. Until then, I guess bias favors a bit of the upside here just because of the uptrend, but below $50, then I look for this thing to return back down to base. It's kind of in a tricky place right there, to be honest, man. So yeah, I don't envy you. I don't envy you on that one, man. All right, I'm gonna get back to the chats over here. We're also live on Twitter as well, or X. Creighton C says, Dallas is a mixed bag, just like you heard. I know things got crazy, but I still love Utah. Beautiful place. I don't even have like a mental picture of Utah, except for the salt flats. Except for this, that's where they are, right? The salt flats, it's just like that really plain, flat ground that kind of has like a off-white appearance. I don't know, it looks cool, man. Mike's Mind and Matter says, please, could you check the much esteemed shitcoin SUI weekly? Let's check it out, man. I'm curious to see where this one is, just because it has been one of the stronger shitcoins earlier on in the cycle. Is it any longer? In the short term, no, I mean, so many of these things, man, are just putting in these lower highs here. I think that this thing's a lot more likely to come back down to 3.25 than I think it is to go back above $4 in the short term. Short term meaning like the next couple weeks. If it comes below $3 and start to close weeklies below there, that's where I say this thing's actually like long-term kind of fucked. But for now, you know, short-term downside, probably somewhere back down around here, should be a bounce. Hidden bearish divergence on that last local high. Most of these things are putting in swing highs right now, man. It's not good. So fair enough. What's up, Mr. Asian Massage Reviews? Or maybe misses. Who knows? We don't know. Also, big arches in Utah. What's big arches? That's some sort of like rock formation? I like rocks. As well. I like mountains, and I also like trees. Gotta love the Mormons. Mormons are very nice people. I got nothing bad to say about Mormons, but if you've read your history, you probably would know the Mormons of today are not the same thing as the Mormons from like a couple hundred years ago. Those guys were fucking crazy. Those guys were a real problem. They were the original fucking crazy political people. But now they're just like nice people who have a lot of kids and wear those weird underwear pants that make you look like fucking Walter White. Ben's chair says the 2-day BBWP versus Stochastic is getting close to firing off. Let's see. I haven't checked myself, but let's discover this one together, sir. Let's do it. We're gonna do it together. We're gonna do it together. I got the 5-day right here. This one is not expanding just yet, but goddamn, man. This one is baking, and it still favors a downside as long as Bitcoin's now below 119 almost. 2-day time frame. Let's see. What's the 2-day looking like? 2-day is currently actually showing upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's above 109,500, so not bad there. Is volatility expanding? It's not really doing anything right now. I don't think that there's going to be anything right here. I think that this is a nothing burger, sir. I do think price is more likely to come back down to this base, to be honest, but there's, at least from what I see, no setup here, man. I don't know, maybe the index, no, the index doesn't look any different. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sir, Pump Fund, please. You want to look at Pump Fund? If you can't tell from the name that it's absolute garbage, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Pump Fund, I don't know, maybe sometimes you see, I mean, even the shittiest of shitcoins get their pumps, and this one's getting a pretty fucking good pump, so I spoke way too soon. I need to eat my words on this one. Look, I just don't trust shit like this, man. I just don't trust shit like this, but even on a 4-hour time frame, you don't even have divergence yet, so do I think that the all-time high is in just yet? No, it's probably in a short-term correction, basing between 0.7 and whatever your highs are right now. But I actually would be biased towards this thing making a new all-time high before topping out. Damn, that daily RSI is getting real fucking up there, but it can go more. It can certainly go more. So yeah, actually, funnily enough, among probably the best looking charts today. Again, I don't know how much I trust some that is called Pump Fund, a literal shitcoin token, but hey, gotta give respect where respect is earned. Love getting pumped, yes indeed. James Ruth says, people of Crown, wait, what? Hear me. Until Ethereum and Doggy eat shit, we are wasting time. Ethereum and Doggy will ignite our alts, but not until they feel dead. I don't know. I mean, does Ethereum really feel it's close to its highs? It's Doggy Coin, I would say, is probably more accurate on that one. But yeah, I mean, most things look like they want to correct lower. I'll put it that way. Rand is pumping pump. Fair enough. A lot of, well, a lot of very trusting people out there. A lot of very trusting people, I suppose. MicroStrategy next leg down. We've been looking for a move down to like 310 for a while. Let's see if it's happened. It's getting close, getting very close, getting very, very close. Another drive of hidden bearish divergence should be the final nail in the coffin, I would think. Upon confirmation today, any sort of a closure below 327 by end of day will certainly do it for me. Yeah, somewhere between like 300 to 310. Yeah, somewhere around there. Let's see what a monthly looks like. Monthly does have me a little bit concerned, I guess, for the long term, just because, you know, that does have bearish divergence there. I guess if things get really bad, maybe like 270, but give it a chance. You know, ultimately it's in one major consolidation. So, you know, if you do fail about $300, then yeah, I'd be looking at around 270, 260. But until then, like, give it a chance at around 300. Yes, Music Miracle says yes. Very disappointed in Fartcat. Wait, is this a thing? Oh man, these Fartcat tokens, they're not living up to their fundamentals. Well, seems like it's just a pullback to me, bro. This one's going back to the moon. Azim Mashar says, Crown, as an OG watcher, I can say 100% you are the one with the hairy hobbit feet. I know I am. I know. My feet are hairy. It's true. You're looking at RFL, Raphael. Let's see. RAFEL. Is this the thing? Oh, you could just say the ticker. Wait, you did say the ticker. I'm the redact here. My apologies. Wow, amazing. Really great, bro. Really, really good. Yeah. All rallies fail. All rallies fail. Fart casting. Yes, I'm minting my own fart coins as we speak. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Per de Jong. I'm not sure how to say that properly. Sorry, man. As you've been mentioning, shitcoins looking shit. It's a crazy idea. Does this also give you belief that Bitcoin dominance will have a bounce now or further down around 55.5%ish? I don't know. I haven't looked at this chart in a while. I think it's honestly, for me, it's a really hard chart to get. I don't think I have a good read on this chart. I think what's actually a lot easier for me is looking at a different chart, which I think is actually a lot more accurate to what people are, trying to get. Do you bounce here? Do you come down to 55 first? I really don't know, man. I don't think it matters. So most of these shitcoins look shit. And I think it's best to prioritize the shitcoin chart that you are looking at to begin with rather than the Bitcoin dominance chart. The Bitcoin dominance chart is just, it's incorporating literally fucking everything. So it's very convoluted in my opinion. What I'd be a lot more interested to look at is actually the total 3 market cap, so that excludes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the stable coins, versus Bitcoin as the underlying. And this chart, I think, has very, very likely topped out right here. If it does have one more push, it'll push up somewhere around here, around this green moving average. But ultimately, these are topping zones, whether it's here or whether it's there. I don't know. But obviously, if it did go for the green moving average, that would be a big altcoin rally. Looking at the altcoins that we've seen today, I would say that that's a lot less likely, in my opinion. That's a lot less likely. If we go to a weekly time frame, I'm not getting any toppy behavior just yet, to be fair. So I guess it's possible. Like I said, I don't have super strong opinions on these charts. What I have a strong opinion on is like the actual shitcoin chart themselves. Because these charts, what if Bitcoin dominance does go down, but your favorite shitcoin also goes down? That could very easily be a situation. James Ruth says, all is doom until Ethereum hits 2,800 to 36. Okay, 2,800 to 3,600 is a very big area, man. Fair enough. Anyways. Ben's chair says, friend of mine watches only Rand. I stay on the Crowns train. He's down 50%. I'm up 100%. That's awesome, man. Stay on the chair. We're all chair bros now. Wapiti says, Crown, I have the same problem. What's your risk analysis and mitigation strategy for hairy shoulders? You could get laser hair removal. Wax is not very efficient because it's just going to grow back. I can shave it. It's just going to grow back in a couple weeks. Honestly, the only solution is laser removal. And even then, if you do want to get laser hair removal, you need to go to 6 to 8 different sessions, which are all spaced out by about a month, in order to get real results. You can't just laser it once and be done. It's actually really crazy. And the reason why I know is because I actually had my asshole hairs lasered. And I'm not even joking. I did. And it was for medical reasons. It wasn't because I wanted the aesthetics of it. It was actually for medical reasons. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking, but yeah. And it took a long fucking time, and there's still some hair down there. Anyways. Asian Massage says Bitcoin dominance versus Tether dominance versus shitcoins is my least favorite correlation. I agree, man. It's always best to look at whatever you actually want to trade, that chart, rather than one of these corollary charts, because whenever you go further away from that price chart, you're just getting further away from the objective truth of whatever the hell you are trying to invest in. Who cares if Bitcoin dominance is going down if your shitcoin's going down with it? It doesn't work with gray hair. Does it really not work with gray hair? Because I do have a lot of gray hairs. It's very bad. Really? Yeah. Is that real? Yeah. Wait a second. Is this real? You can't laser white hairs? Holy shit, I'm fucked. I have a lot of white hairs. Cole Hatch says Yuri Bezmenov knows what the fuck is up. So does Crown. Yuri Bezmenov was the guy who was telling us what the hell is up. I'm just parodying information there and trying to spread it out, because it blows my mind that how many views on this video are there? 1.5 million. Okay, that's a good amount, but it should be. I would think it should be 100 times that, honestly. Yeah. It's crazy that is just, that's just out there on the internet. That's up there with the Jim Cramer video when he's telling you, why the fuck do you care about fundamentals? It's all a goddamn game. This was like many years ago, many years ago. I'd probably even have a hard time finding that video at this point, but yeah. It's crazy that this exists right here, and people like it's just ignorance that people don't know, which is why they get swept up in a lot of these things. It's right there in front of your fucking face, man. Take the goddamn bananas out of your ears. Take the damn bananas out of your ears, and you shall see. You shall see the truth. That is true. No layering white hairs. I can personally attest. That is a very big surprise. I would have never guessed that. I need some juicy Tesla juice. We can look at some Tesla. Hold on. I see that we got another comment from Mr. Gallu. Says, want to try the Prime service for those Bitcoin trades you have shared lately? Is it a one-click install and done, or do I have to manually build a bot? It's going to build a bot. So if you want something that's more like done for you, the quantum wave bands is going to be better for that. But I'll give you kind of a quick rundown on what this would look like. Let me think. Oh yeah. So I'll give you a super simple one here. So the Quant Prime service allows you to build the most like just super fucking sophisticated strategies. Basically the possibilities really are limitless. I built an extremely simple one right here. Whoops. And for some reason I don't even have this one up. Let me go to the 5-day then. This one's also super simple as well. But yes, it does require some setup. So there is a learning curve that does accompany it. Yes, we do have a Discord full of really knowledgeable people who can help you out. We also do have an AI chatbot which can walk you through things as well. But basically, you basically get this script right here, and you fill out all the different conditions that you want to include in what you want your bot to do. So you want to open based off of this condition alongside this condition, when also this condition is not present, blah, 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 or on this day and that day, all these sort of things. Like there's just a million fucking ways to do it. But it does require some setup, yes. And so we don't really recommend it to beginners. We recommend it to people who already have, generally success, because it's going to make successful people just significantly more powerful, significantly more efficient, significantly more successful typically. For newer people, can it be a good tool? I think it can be a good tool, but I would say the quantum wave band is going to be a better tool just because it's more done for you. It's more simplistic in a way for setup and all of that. The actual underlying system is not so simplistic, but yeah. Anyways, this one actually does have an open trade right here on the 5-day time frame. Now, I should add that this one's had a fucking phenomenal run. It's had a fucking phenomenal run, but it does have a rather low hit rate. It has a rather low hit rate, and you just saw 2 wins in a row. I know that this is gambler's fallacy, but the general trend for this one has been, a win or 2 in a row, and then followed by a few losses in a row. That's been the trend for this whole this whole cycle. But at the same time, those losses have been pretty damn small, and the gains have been all of the biggest gains for Bitcoin, honestly. 50% moves in many cases. Even the recent ones, which were not 50% moves, were still pretty damn good. I mean, opening up long at 106, closing at 115 or so. I mean, that's not bad, even though it is kind of like an underperformance on this particular strategy. Before that, opened at 83.5, closed at 106. I mean, I like it. I'll put it that way. Sometimes it can look like a tarantula down there. Tarantula in a forest. Yeah, that's what I want, a phenomenal run. Yeah, man, like look, this is a super simple setup. And okay, I know you, so I can say this about you. You'd very easily be able to set this up, but I don't want to present this as easy to like a beginner or anything like that, because it's not, man. It's not. But yeah, this is a strategy that I created to just capture all of the trending moves, and then when it's not a trending environment, it gets in and out of positions very fast with a small paper cut. And sometimes, you will take multiple losses in a row, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to survive those in order to capitalize on these big boys right here, which has caught every fucking big move. Actually, in Bitcoin's history, to be fair, yeah. But especially this cycle, it's been very efficient with that. So yeah, all right, let me get rid of some of these charts, man. We're a little bit convoluted up here. Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got. Okay, just scrolling through some of these. Nikki Page also has confirmed you cannot laser white hairs. That's so strange. Am I being trolled or something? Like, I feel like this is not true. I need to ask chat. Okay, hold on. We need to ask chat. We're gonna learn something together today. It's not that you're a woman that I don't believe you. There's many men saying this as well. I'm genuinely curious. Like, is this true? Can you laser hair white? Okay, I have lots of white hairs on my body. Can I laser them off with laser hair removal? I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I'm just curious. Like, this sounds so wrong. Why would the white hairs not be able to be done? Sounds racist. Anyways, let's see. Okay, just give me the fast answer today, please. We don't need like a fucking 50-second setup for this. Just give it to me. Traditional laser hair removal is generally not effective for removing white body hairs. Wow. Okay. Well, I learned something today. Why would I troll you? It just doesn't sound right to me. Salmon says, Crown, what's Fiboswani's dip target, so to speak? Did he have a fib coming in around 95? I forget, and I don't want to mischaracterize, his analysis. I think I remember something in the mid 90s, but I would have to review that video in the same way that you would too. So I'll just let you do that, ma'am, and you can tell me, ages. Tesla, we've looked at Tesla, man. Well, I guess now it's open, so maybe there's some a little bit new here. Okay, did complete the open above $400. Not bad. Damn. I guess just want to see it really finish the month out above $400, and I think you're gonna more or less make new all-time highs in the fourth quarter. It might not even matter if it closed above $400, to be honest, but if you want to be super technical, I'm looking at this right here, fresh twist on the quarterly, monthly fresh twist. Overall, I think that this thing is really getting ready for like probably new all-time highs in the fourth quarter, man. It's good. It's really fucking good. Crown, do you consider chart request donations the same as begging for money in the street? You mean me begging for money in the street? Not really, because it's going the other way around, so that would not make sense, sir. I do not follow your logic. Asian Massage says, Crown, you need green lasers to cure your level of... I need some green dildos of my Angus. That's what I really need. But yeah, anyways, these charts are triggering my TISM. I correlate vital sign data over time and trend. What causes the fluctuations? Does that make sense? Not really. I correlate vital sign data over time and trend. What causes the fluctuate? I feel like I just ran into a word salad, and I'm not really sure what you mean. But yeah. It is pretty silly, man. Yeah, I'm not sure about that logic there. ER Berg says, sorry, Gallo said, yeah, I meant the quantum wavebands. Yeah, quantum wavebands probably a lot better for a newer person. It's just a lot more like already kind of set up for you, basically. The Quant Prime obviously not, but does offer up a lot, significantly more, infinitely more, what's it called, functionality and customization. Yeah, I'm not sure about that logic there. Music Miracle says, hey, are you living in the US now? We're visiting the US right now. The patient's vital signs, their vital signs are correlating to a trend. In a way, I mean, well, no, because I guess okay, look, I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not a nurse. I'm not in the medical sphere, although I did take a lot of pre-med courses, which I probably didn't learn or retain much from. But I would imagine that volatility of your heart rate is similar to volatility of a stock. You always you want low volatility. Elsa's not a gynecologist, but she can take a look. Quantum dubstep, that actually sounds pretty cool. Had Bitcoin at 20% of my portfolio and reach over 50%. Do you rebalance or let it ride? This is a really good question, man. The answer that I've come to is no, because I like to let my winners win and just do their thing. So the only reason why I'd actually rebalance is if I needed some more income. If I don't need more income, then I have no reason to rebalance, a winning position. That's the only reason why I take away from a winning position. I'm not going to go cut a winning position a little bit short to go buy some fucking loser stock or something that's just not doing as well. The result that you're getting there with Bitcoin basically becoming half your portfolio after only intended, a position of 20% is a feature of its success. That's a good sign. So I would not detract from it. If anything, I mean, I don't know if I'd buy more, but I wouldn't cut any of that position. I'd be looking for losing positions to cut. I sell my losers. I don't sell my winners, man. Only if you need income. That's where it would make sense, in my opinion. Can you check out Solana? Yeah, we can look at Solana. I'm actually genuinely curious because this one actually did have a pretty good move over the weekend. We did say last week this one actually looked like it was getting ready for a move to 240. It didn't just get to 240, it got to 250. Damn, that's really good. I can really go both ways on this one. This one's honestly really difficult. Well, it's really difficult, but it's also really easy. Are we going to pull back here? Yes. Is it bearish? No. Is it objectively better chart than 99% of the shit we've seen today? Absolutely. Can it come down to 220 and put in a higher low? Yes. Where would it actually switch around and make me where would it switch around and make me bearish on it? It would have to come back down below last week's low, which is about $200. So until then, I mean, this is among the best crypto charts we've seen today. It's just, do I think that this thing's going to do something different while the rest of the market does not? Generally, the answer for that is no. So that's kind of where I'm a little bit split on this one. But I do think you will in the short term come down to like 220-ish region, try for a bounce there. I'd want to come back to it after that. This becomes a big pivot. Your high basically of yesterday at 250. As long as you're below there, I think it's in a corrective formation. Above there, this thing should explode to new all-time highs, but I'd be treating it as corrective as long as you're below there. It's throwing me off because it really is doing something significantly different than the rest of this market. It's in a good way for sure. But you live in this market for long enough, you just always distrust those sort of things. Let's see. Bubba OJ says, why didn't you tell me the whole truth about alts even now? They're still up over 100% up Bitcoin since the January 2021 lows. Oh God, fucking idiot. Sir, whatever you're doing, just go buy more of your altcoins, please. All right, just go buy more of your altcoins. No, he's actually not trolling, but the problem is that that's actually also not true. That's also not true. I mean, maybe it's true for some like Ethereum, but that's not what you're talking about. We're talking about this cycle and last cycle shitcoins, sir. So go be a fucking redact somewhere else, man. Anyways, Asian Massage says, Crown, can this quant prime be used for stonks? Yeah, actually you can. You actually can use that. It'll definitely work, obviously, for the backtesting feature. Can you integrate it with TradingView so that it executes trades on your behalf? I believe you can, and we do have tutorials for that, depending upon your broker. It depends on your, on your broker. Yeah, he's actually a legitimate fucking retard. Just shut the fuck up about everything but crypto, dude. Oh my God, man. That's right. Are you gonna shoot me or what? You fucking crazy, crazy person. Anyways, Berg says Hosky versus the dollar on the weekly. Sure, man. We can look at that. Yeah, man. Just go keep on buying your shitcoins, bro. Keep on buying them. Really good idea. You have my full support. Just go all in. Make sure you mortgage whatever you can mortgage. Also bad, man. Also bad. Is this one up 100% from its January lows? It's on its January lows, in fact. So no, it's not. It's not. Is it up from these lows over here? It is. But that does not make this a good buy in any way, shape, or form. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Like, that's your fucking comeback. It's up from its lows a little bit, while the rest of this market is up significantly from its low. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, you have no idea of relative returns at all. You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Anyways, I apologize for the more direct insults here. I do apologize about it. But yeah, I mean, it's a fucking terrible investment. Like, look, you're up 100% while Bitcoin's up, I don't know, what was Bitcoin in 2015? $100? 100 to 100,000? Okay. That's how much up? 1,000x? Nah. Anyways. All right. This thing, bad, very likely going down exactly from here. Another lower high and a series of lower highs, but for some people out there in the world, this is a good chart because it's up from its lows, even though it only goes down during this cycle when everything in their mother has made new all-time highs. Amazing investment decisions. Let's make sure that we miss out on the easy gainers to go for the losers. Amazing idea. Crown, did you get enough sleep? Actually, I did, but, you know, just when you hear something so fucking redacted as that, it's like, okay, up is down and down is up. Yeah, I know it's rude, man. I know it's rude. But look, it's rude, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We'll look at some cores for Vahid. Is it Vahid? C-R-O-Z, Core Scientific. You want some sugar coat cave. Yeah, I just don't have any patience for people who first, he comes at me very, very rude. And then second, it's just also factually not correct. Like, okay, this thing, actually not bad, man. Maybe has a reconnect with 15.25, but overall, I think it does go back up. But like, look, he's gonna bring up an example like Litecoin and say that, you know, that's evidence that Litecoin is a good investment. Litecoin has done absolutely nothing for 8 years. That is called dead money. That is called dead fucking money. As an investment decision, this is very bad. To hold something like this over 8 years, where it is more or less the exact same price as it was 8 years ago, is not a good decision. So for someone who thinks that that's a good decision, it's just factually not fucking true. If you like having bad returns, then yeah, fucking go for it, man. In fact, for that person, I think that you should double down, triple down, quadruple down as much as you can on this with leverage and take out loans and max out your credit cards. Is it a good investment because it is above the 2015 lows of about $1? No, because again, opportunity cost of the past 8 years is you've gone completely sideways. You've done nothing. You've done absolutely nothing. What has happened in the past 8 years with something as simple as even, you know, SPY or Bitcoin, for example? Well, in the past 8 years, what has Bitcoin done? It's gone all the way from about $1,000 to $100,000. So was that a good investment decision? It was a good investment decision from 2015 to 2018. Yes, you had good returns there. Since then, absolutely disastrous. Absolutely fucking disastrous. There is no universe where you would convince me that that is not true. Anyways, let's see what else we got. Asian Massage says, for brokers, I use Schwab and Fidelity most. Fair enough. What version of TV is compatible? Okay. So that's like, no, this would have to be for like the TradingView native ones. Let's see what they actually offer here. Yeah, so they use like most of the Forex brokers. Actually, they even offer Bybit now, although you wouldn't do it this way. It's just not very good. But these are the main ones. It's actually not going to offer up like those traditional, you know, investment platforms, because generally when you're on like a Schwab or a Fidelity or a Vanguard, these are usually for like long-term investments. You're not trying to like day trade there, for example. So it's not going to be great. I highly doubt you'll be able to integrate it with that. You'd be able to integrate it with, you know, with stuff like this. But again, these are like more active trading platforms. So yeah, I don't think it'd work with that, man. What are your thoughts on CRO? Probably bad, but let's see. It's above its 2015 lows, man, so it's great. Actually, I mean, not a bad rally there, to be fair. Do I think it's going to come down a little bit in the short term? Yeah, I do. I think that this is actually probably another pull up top, to be honest, man. In the short term, does it come down to 20 cents? Probably yes. Does it try a bounce there? Also probably yes. But it's not necessarily bearish, to be honest, man. As long as you're above about 20 cents on a weekly closing basis, it's actually not necessarily bearish just yet. But forgive me if I have major concerns about something that looks like this over the long term. You know, I'm just immediately sold off on the first test towards the May 2022 breakdown. Like, these are usually not good signs, man. They're usually not good signs. But yeah. Morning and loathing from California. Yes, we need some more hate in the chats. No, not this rant, says Rules. Not this rant. Gotta love your rant about geopolitics. I forget about that one, but yeah, cool. Andrew says Ondo. Sure, man, we can look at Ondo. Another early cycle winner and probably late cycle loser. It could be worse. I mean, at least it just doesn't only go down. You know, it has had some higher lows throughout this cycle, so that's a better sign than most. But still, in this case, do I think that there's another local high and it tries a little bit of downside here, maybe back down to $1? Yeah, I do think so. Is it necessarily bearish though? Actually, no, not as bad as many of the things that we've seen today. As long as you're above last week's low, I would treat this one okay. Like with a little bit of hopium confirmed if you can trade back above the July highs at 118 or so. Until then, yeah. But if it does take out last week's low, that's where I get phenomenally bearish on something like this. But yeah, you know, at least it does have intra-cycle higher lows. So most things cannot say that, unfortunately. Shipwreck says actually you can do it through, via Fidelity, but you have to, you probably have to use a couple of middlemen there. It's going to be it's going to be a little bit messy, but I guess maybe you could, which would be kind of cool. Anyways, so much hate from Melbourne, Australia. We need some more hate in the chats as well. We've already looked at CRWV. We've already seen that. We've already seen many of these. In fact, that's probably my cue to turn off the stream. Let's see. Music Miracles looking at MYX. Okay. A lot of new shit today. Is it this thing? Oh, I'm guessing it's this thing. All right. MYX Finance. Just slap a finance next to its name and it's good. And actually, I respect the rally. I don't know how much longevity this thing has, to be honest, but these blow-offs out of nowhere, man, always make me really skeptical. But hey, the trend is your friend. It looks like that OM chart from earlier this cycle. But I don't know, give it a chance to kind of base around, I don't know, about $7. Maybe it drops down to like $5, $7 to $5. I mean, this thing's highly fucking volatile. Gallo said, if you had to recommend me your best trading bot, which one would it be? Would it be in Bitcoin most likely, or would Quantum? I mean, all of them are going to trade Bitcoin. Like, look, the problem with using bots or anything to trade shitcoins is that you're always going to lack history, man. You're always going to lack history. So the biggest issue is that you just don't have enough data to be going off of. Even Bitcoin's kind of like low on the data, you know, in the grand scheme of things. But if I had to recommend one, I would say it depends on your preference. So if you are newer and if you want something a little more done for you, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be losses and there's going to be periods of drawdowns. In fact, I'll show you exactly what it looks like right now with the quantum wave bounds. But the quantum wave bounds would be better for someone who's, you know, familiar with TradingView, not familiar with bots or these sort of things, but, you know, kind of wants to get their feet wet into it and wants a relatively easy setup. I mean, this is a pretty simple setup. I think, you know, very few people even have issues with this. And if you do have issues with it, like I said, you can ask in the Discord, and that gets taken care of very quickly. But look, you know, there's going to be losses, of course. In fact, this one hit a major drawdown recently, coming off of the all-time high, which is always going to happen for, I mean, most strategies, to be honest. But, you know, it takes a few big losses in a row. Ultimately, yeah, you can close them. But ultimately, you know, it's over the long term. So you have to understand, if you are going to trade in general, in my opinion, or especially with a bot, which is effectively leveraging statistics over a long period of time in your favor, you can't do what you've done before, which is over leverage yourself, because the second that you unnecessarily lose trading equity, you're going to fuck up your chances to be around for this long to allow these to work for you. If you over leverage yourself over here and you take a few big losses, you're going to be fucked before this thing actually has some gains. That's my point. Now, the Quant Prime service, again, is it better? I mean, it's better for people who are more comfortable building their own strategies, or especially if you already have your own successful strategy. It will help you refine that. It'll also help you automate it and build upon it. Like, that's the real power there. But if you're newer and you just want to get your feet wet, this would be the one to do. But again, you have to understand, nothing is ever going to be a 100% strike rate. Even this thing, which has a pretty fucking high win rate, to be honest, you know, sometimes it can look fucking ugly in the moment. moment. It can look real fucking ugly in the moment. Like, I'll show you off of the all-time high. This is almost always going to happen when you hit a major high. You're going to take a major fucking loss, or two in a row. This is a major fucking loss here from 123 closing all the way down here at 114. That is catastrophic. So you cannot let something like that kill you, because if you do let it kill you, then you're not going to be around for, you know, the next few months where it actually gains that back and more. That's the game. That's the game. Anyways, crypto shark, or you could also just buy a 2015 shitcoin and be up 2x from the lows. Great returns. Crypto Shart says, did you already do XRP and syrup? We did XRP very early in the stream, but we can definitely do syrup. That one has not popped up this stream, and I don't really recognize it from last week as well. Okay, yeah. Now it looks a little bit more familiar. Overall, I don't have much different to say. I don't have anything significantly different to say about it than last week. I would still be looking at Tuesday, the 9th of September's low at 43.5 cents as a major pivot for confirming actual downside, meaning that if you do start to close a daily below 43.5 cents, I'd be looking for this thing to at minimum come back down to about 38.5 cents, probably even all the way down to like 34, 35 cents. That can take some time, obviously. There's going to be stops along the way, but ultimately I'd be looking for something like that. By the same token, if this thing even traded back above last Friday's high of about 49 cents, the price action pivot right here, and especially if it closed above there, I'd say that this thing's still overall bullish. But for right now, has not really initiated any major trend just yet. The prior trend was actually pretty impressive, to be fair, but I'd be very, very quick to get bearish on this thing if it did take out this low, just to be really, really clear about that. Let's see. Adam John is looking at Arrow. Yeah, we can look at Arrow versus the Corns Arrow versus the Corns. Not great, man. A down only chart. Another rejection at the 200 simple on a lower high. Momentum's probably going to turn down relatively soon as well. I think that you're hitting another major high right here, man. I mean, this is kind of going back to that absolute redact comment earlier from that guy who's like, but you're not telling the truth about the altcoins. They sometimes go up. Yeah, they do sometimes go up, but they generally go down. Here's your fucking Litecoin great buys from 2015. All you've done is lost how much since 2015? You've lost, I'll even take it from the low of 2015, not even the high. Oh, you've only lost 87% versus Bitcoin. Great job, bro. You're not telling the truth. This is a fucking this is a real number right there. What else are you going to bring up? Like Ethereum Bitcoin? Ethereum Bitcoin is probably about the same. Actually, Ethereum Bitcoin from 2015, I'm not going to be able to find one. But fair enough, man. I don't even know many of the other ones, honestly. Tesla for ASCII, and then we'll probably call this one a day. Let's see. Oh, I actually literally have it right here. So this one, I'm sure you remember last time we looked at this one, and actually the couple weeks prior, we were looking at this one, and it was the same thing. Like, as long as you're above that red moving average on the monthly, my rule stay bullish. And I mean, I couldn't have told you it's going to get up to 420 exactly right now, but goddamn, that's a really powerful chart. Look, you might come back down and fill the gap around $400, you know, at some point between now and the end of this month, but what I'd really be focused on here, Asti, is the quarterly. If the quarterly closes anywhere above $400 by end of month, then I think that this thing is going to retest and make new all-time highs in Q4. Does it happen earlier on or later on? I don't fucking know, but this would be an objectively bullish chart with a higher low on a quarterly and also reapproaching that high. I mean, that is setting up, probabilistically speaking, towards continuation, not reversal. So overall, very, very good. What's up, Matthew Smead? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. The inverse ring. Yes, the inverse ring. All right, guys. It's been a nice, pleasurable Monday morning stream. We had some good conversations. We also had some bad conversations, some terrible conversations as well. And that's probably my fault, but that's okay. Creighton C says, Elsa wants food. Can you take the next few hours and slowly tell us about all you know about Gondolin? I can. There are many things I can tell you about the fall of Gondolin.
I'm the victim of fat phobia.
You're the victim of fat phobia, is that what you said? Something like that, I guess. We should have a stream where we go over Lord of the Rings lore. I know many secrets of the Silmarillion and beyond. But anyways, guys, it's been a nice, pleasurable stream despite all of the all the shit talking. Hopefully it's taken its right, except for that one guy. Fuck him. But everyone else, I love you, and we shall be back on Wednesday with another live stream. Tomorrow we'll just do another regular video. Tomorrow I will say I will present a little bit of hopium tomorrow, because there is one source of hopium here for September. I don't know how much I trust it, but it does exist. So I do think that it's relevant to be going over. We actually went over it a few weeks ago as well, but now it becomes actually relevant in terms of timing. So we shall see. But for right now, it does look like Bitcoin may indeed be actually confirming that next lower high. What I will say, however, is that still need to see a closure below about 114,700 before these short-term signals get confirmed. At that point, this does look like the next sort of swing high. Anyways, that's what we'll shut off for today. As always, I'm going to wish everyone the best. Take care. Much love.